Hi everyone, welcome to Vancouver Real Estate Today. I'm Realtor Josh Kepier, and I'm really excited because I'm sitting here today with a full team of people that specialize in making homes beautiful and taking what some of us like to call teardowns, but we'll maybe looking at it differently as a fixer-upper instead. So we've got Greg Bartz of GreNor Homes, and we've got Sylvie and Katarina of Designs by KS. And they've just come right off of doing panels at the home show, so really privileged to be able to spend some time with them and really find out some of the answers to most commonly asked questions that I most commonly get asked about, be it home renovations or interior designs. So thanks for everyone for coming.
Thanks
or I guess for having me in your showroom, you could say.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Homeowners, homebuyers, investors, we all want to find that perfect property to move into and to eventually sell for a profit. And we want to make that purchase in a place with affordable, safe, quality homes, communities, and businesses. Why? So we can actually enjoy our lives, take vacations, and spend the quality time we want with the people we love. How do we do all this without risking a fortune and running ourselves ragged? That's the big question, and this show is dedicated to the answer.
So I met Greg a few months ago and then ended up coming to see a project that he had done and it was done with you. It was beautiful. So that's how we all got to know each other. But maybe we start off with everyone saying a little bit about how they got into this business and what they do. Maybe we'll start with Greg.
So yeah, Greg Bartz with GreNor Homes. I've been at this since I was a kid. I'm a fourth generation home builder. So my passion is building homes and helping clients achieve their dreams. So our company slogan is building your vision, and that's really what it's about, is helping people through the power of design and proper project management get from where they are to where they want to be.
So would you say you're a dream maker?
You could say that, yeah.
Right?
I would say yeah.
That's what I tell people. I say, I create dreams. No, I just sell houses.
Oh,
you actually
we can build you whatever you want. You just have to tell us what it is.
Yeah.
And that's where the design plays in so well with the whole process.
Fantastic. Katarina?
Great. So I'm Katarina with Designs by KS. I'm the K to the S. I'm a designer, owner of the company along with Sylvie over here, and we've been doing this for, I think, over 15 years. I started in this industry 15 years ago, like I was saying, as a design assistant. It's taken a long time. I've covered the plumbing side of the industry, eventually got more so into design, and we specialize in residential, some commercial, but definitely residential. We do a lot of kitchen renovations. We do a lot of renovations generally, some new builds throughout the year as well. And yeah, our passion is the home, the kitchen, where people gather, bathrooms, just common spaces essentially. We're here to make it functional and pretty.
Fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
Sylvie?
I'm Sylvie, the other half of KS, the S to the K. I got into the industry about 7-ish, 8 years ago and went straight into the kitchen and bathroom design, where I find we specialize in the most. Katarina just kind of talked about our business. We do a lot of residential renovations, a little bit of commercial. We love interior spaces and making people's dreams come true like Greg. And yeah, that's
Awesome.
pretty much it.
Thanks so much. Why don't we treat this a little bit like a panel? Because I think some of the questions about renovations, two of you will have enough insights to kind of jump on some of those, and it might be fun to see what Greg thinks of some of the interior design questions. I'm sure you have opinions on that.
I have opinions. I don't always like to express them because I'm the paint by numbers guy. They bring the pictures and we build it. We can build whatever they can design. We can build it, but it's about starting with that.
Well, this is your opportunity to say things that you have never said before.
Break into the world of design.
And then to get shut down by
It'll be great.
That's
They're looking forward to it. They're like, come on, bring it on.
I think you tried that yesterday at one point.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you did.
Well, they asked me a question of like design element to put in there. And I'm like, well, I have to say something. So, and then my picture of one of our projects came up, and I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
So it worked
That's
out
what I'm
great.
talking about.
And that's exactly what I meant. Timed really well.
Yeah.
So how does someone really, if I'm gonna do a renovation, because like what I've come to kind of believe, and then maybe this isn't true, is that the first renovation anyone's gonna do, unless they get they get the right help around it, it's probably gonna be over budget, and it's probably gonna be a nightmare experience. I find people who've done it a few times, it's a little bit, they're more familiar with the process, and it goes a little smoother. But so how do I find the right contractor, Greg?
The most important thing with finding the right contractor is you have to find a good fit. It's a really personal relationship. We spend a lot of time getting to know our clients and getting to know their needs and what their goals are, because we're spending a lot of your money for you, and we're disrupting your home. And it can be a really short period of time, or it can be a long period of time. And it's about setting those clear goals from the very beginning. And don't be afraid to share goals and budgets, and ask questions, ask for references. The most powerful thing that you can do is talk to somebody who was in your shoes before. They'll be open to asking and answering questions, and you can go back and forth. And any good contractor will be more than happy to give you references. We love to have past clients weigh in on some things, because I'm going to say things a certain way, but it always comes different from somebody who has no vested interest in my company. They have a good experience. That's our best business card. So really understanding also what they specialize in. Some contractors specialize in maybe flips or remodels or new builds, or kind of what's their scale and scope and assets. See how they manage their projects. The way we manage our projects is we want to be totally transparent with our clients and show them where their costs are going to be, how we build a budget, how we schedule, and we show them that through the online project management software we use. So they get a chance to see into their project whenever they want to, from the comfort of their home or their office. So it cuts down on the need to have meetings and to go over little tiny things, but also they have a good bird's eye view of the project. And it's little things like that. What do you want from your contractor? Some people want a full service contractor that's going to take the job from the beginning to the end, and the owner can be very hands off, just making some selections. Some people want to be a little bit more involved, and it's about setting those clear guidelines in the beginning and making everything known. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Chances are we've all been asked those questions before. So ask it. Ask for accreditations. Ask for insurance. That's one question that I don't get asked enough, is what's our liability insurance?
Right.
When we're working in a strata building, some stratas, their bylaws state a minimum insurance that we have to have. But in homes, that's not something people will ask, but you want to make sure that that's covered, because if something happens, you want to make sure that your home is covered, your investment, or if it's in a strata, the rest of your building is covered, because at the end of the day, the homeowner is the one that all the liability goes back to if everybody else goes away. So you want to make sure you're covered. So it's asking questions and being open and honest with your goals.
So I'm hearing you say, really, if this is going to be your first reno project and it's the place you're living in, you want it to come out really well, take an element of professionalism to it, and look for that in your communication with the contractor, and maybe the materials they present you, and ask for some of those accreditations. Because I've met enough people who have built laneway houses really fast, or these kind of things like that. I can think of one right now who the builder you'd gotten into some projects with had actually some strikes against him with what I guess would be BC Housing.
Yeah.
And when it came time to sell this house that they had built, it all of a sudden became a problem to sell the house, because the guy hadn't declared these things, strikes against him. So do your homework, I guess is what I'm hearing. Now, what I heard you say, don't be afraid to share your vision.
Yeah.
But I think a really common problem that some of us have, myself included, is we just want it to look nice. We don't have a vision. So I think that's where you two would step in. What do you do when the client comes to you and maybe they've decided on a contractor, or they're getting there, but they don't really know what they want to tell the contractor to do?
Yeah, I feel like most people know what doesn't work for their space. That's essentially why this is starting. Maybe it doesn't look good, but also maybe it doesn't function as well. So what we're trying to do is figure that out first by getting to know each other, and then stylistically from there, people are attracted to something that they see in the online world. So maybe they'll be saving pictures or taking little screenshots along the way. Social media is a big part of what we do these days. So they gather some things that they seem to be attracted to. I think noting what you love about the picture that you're seeing is pretty important. Sometimes we see pictures and we're not quite sure what the client likes about them. It could be the marble countertops, but it could have just been the stool in the picture.
Right.
So kind of communicating what you like about these pictures that you've gathered is good homework. And then we take that information and start kind of gathering how this should work, pulling materials in our realm of what we have, and the budget that it may affect, their price point, therefore it affects budget. That's essentially where we start. We start gathering information and then producing something that we think works well. And that's, I guess, why we're experts at this, is that now this is gathered and it works well presented, tweaks along the way, and then it makes it more personal to who the homeowner is, essentially. Yeah.
So what level of involvement, maybe Sylvie, this is a good one for you, do you have, whether it's, so I've done my sort of vision board for my dream home or my dream renovation, and are you going to help me select the kind of tiles I'm going to use, all the way to what stools and pillows I'm going to pick out, and what's the height of detail that you get involved with, and what's the more common level people ask for?
I would say that as interior designers, we're focusing more on the items that are staying in the home long after you leave. So your millwork, your flooring, your tiles, your countertops, more so than your chairs and your rugs and your drapes. That's something more an interior decorator specializes in.
Right.
Where an interior designer has more focus in those items that are staying. So in the cabinetry and the tiles and everything that you just mentioned.
Can you help me with the decorating too?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to pick up the pillows and the chairs.
We'll make
That's
suggestions based off the end color scheme of your space. If it's more contemporary or more traditional or transitional, we'll come up with suggestions. We can take care of, let's say, furniture placement to give you a better idea as to what's going to work best in your space. Let's say we're doing a kitchen renovation into a living room or family room. We can put together, your layout for your couches and your chairs, so you kind of know what to go shop for and what sizes to look at.
Right.
But we won't necessarily tell you to go and purchase this item, but we'll make suggestions along the way.
Okay.
But if that help is needed, there are, like Sylvie was saying, there are decorators that are very good out there, and we'll connect you with the right people. We'll take it to you as far as we can before kind of recommending a further expert in the topic.
Sure.
We know what we're good at, and we're really good at the elements that essentially stay behind, the architectural stuff that stays behind, and space planning. That's what we do. But in regards to exactly which chair and so on, I mean, we have opinions. Sometimes they're personal likes that we have, but
a lot of it comes down to price point too. So depending on where you're planning to shop, whether it's Restoration Hardware or IKEA, sky's the limit there. So we'll make recommendations, and then it's kind of up to the client to go and decide, make those decisions on their own.
I want the $10,000 table for $2,000.
Or champagne taste beer.
Yeah, exactly. I see a lot of that in business too.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So before we do these kind of renovations, well, I guess that we haven't said any specific kind of renovations, but generally, do I need to get permits, Greg, before I do a renovation? Can I get away without the permits? Well,
permits are always a good idea.
Yeah.
It comes down to ultimately the liability goes back to the homeowner again. It's you're protecting your investment. Also, I think you can speak to the real estate agent side of if you're coming into a property and you're the purchasing agent, an easy way to maybe devalue the property for your client to their benefit is to say, hey, were these upgrades permitted? And as soon as it's a yes or no answer. There's no, well, maybe it was kind of partway. There was a really good guy that did the work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good contractors out there, but there's a difference between permits and not permits when it comes to the legality, what the city has listed there. And it's also something that can down the road get you. We worked on projects where the clients have inherited past work that was unpermitted, that now they're responsible for bringing up to code while we're doing a completely unrelated part of the house. That's the way that it goes. So it's about protecting your asset, and then especially when you operate in a strata building, it's mandatory to do it. Anytime you're doing anything, you have to notify your strata. You also have to get the necessary permits. There's a lot of different layers to it.
Yeah.
It's your own protection. Anytime you're moving anything or opening up walls, you always want to get a permit, because you're having somebody come in, put their stamp of approval on it.
Right.
You're protecting yourself, because if there is a problem and you go to your home insurance provider and say, okay, here's my claim, and they can then look at it and say, well, did you get a permit or did you not get a permit? You don't want to get into an issue of maybe it ends up being your fault, which can be quite costly. So those are always good questions. Back to the questions on working with a contractor. Ask, do you usually get permits? What's your opinion? See how they react to it. If their first reaction is oh, well, you don't really need permits, and then you can ask why and see. But a good contractor wants you to have that. They're happy and confident with the trades that they use. They're happy and confident with the professionals that are in their network. The best representation of myself and of our company is the trades that do the work for us. Our plumbers, electricians, those are the representation. They do a good job. They're all certified. We're happy to pass on their information for that to inspectors or anybody. So we want to put that forward as a quality job, and that kind of sets the bar for also different price points too. People need to understand that you want good quality people working on your home, on your project, and it all starts with permits or no permits.
I have something to add to that.
Please.
So going back to what you were saying about maybe a past project is affecting your current project, and maybe that is passed on to you from a previous homeowner. I just wanted to add that, even if you are the homeowner that's starting a project and is considering maybe not doing permits because you know what, I'm just dealing with my living room, eventually I'm going to get into the kitchen, but maybe I'll touch this wall, something that should have been permitted, but you're not doing a big reno. You probably want to do the permit nevertheless, because when you're going to get to your kitchen, or maybe down the line, it could actually affect you, not just the person that this house is being passed on to.
What reason do people give for not getting permits? Like, what's the?
I would say timeline, especially in Vancouver. I mean, it's not just Vancouver.
Yeah.
North Vancouver right now is like 6 to 8 weeks for a renovation. Vancouver is probably even longer.
It's time and cost, because in order to prepare your permit application, you have to have different layers of whether it's architectural drawings or structural drawings or different layers to that, where some people are thinking, okay, what's the lowest barrier to entry? How can I get, I want to just change this, okay, can I get somebody to come tomorrow or next week or something to do it? Whereas if we have to get all of the information together, do the submission, put it in there, and then wait, and it is a little bit of an unknown. They don't say, okay, here you're going to have it in this many days, come pick it up on this day. There's an unknown. You could have some revisions back and forth. I think people want the quick, okay, we're ready to do it now it's time to do it, but you want to look big picture at your project and understand this is an investment. You're investing, in some cases, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on your projects. You want to look big picture, long term, protect it from day one, and that all starts from making sure everything is looked at. And it's also very common for us to, when we're dealing with a client, when we're scaling the project, we can design a few different areas, like what Katarina said about maybe you're doing this room and this room and this room. We can look at it all together, and you can see how it's going to go. It doesn't necessarily go under the same permit application, but you're having the professionals, whether it's the designers or the engineer or the architect or somebody, look at your project. It's about scaling your project and seeing, what do you want to do? What could you do? What are the possibilities? Also, maybe what are some things that you can't do because of the permits? It goes to your resale. Everybody now is more prone to selling and buying than they used to be. So people are moving around. You don't want to add something to your home that all of a sudden when you go and sell, you find out it's not really something we can market as another bedroom or as something else.
It becomes an unauthorized suite.
Well, exactly. And that doesn't look nice when there's multiple places out there. Yours kind of goes down a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Do you know what? I have a friend who said one of his favorite, he's a nerdy friend, favorite pastime hobbies is to watch Love It or List It and watch the planning department just shut down these poor homeowners who want to open up the kitchen in these heritage homes, and the planning department goes, we're going to preserve this and the shape and character of the home. And so I get that, and you know, I totally, I think that the timeline thing has got to be really difficult for us in this day and age when, you know, we're ordering through Skip the Dishes or just like, I want it now, I want my
Yeah.
Amazon Prime delivery and same day, like
Yeah.
I want it in 2 hours. Like,
Yeah.
it's right now.
Well, I also think that a lot of these clients have spent all this time saving to do this project,
Yes.
right? Or thinking about the project, and then it's time to kind of go,
Yeah.
and they're meeting people, and it's exciting, and they're starting to do their research, and they're clicking with, you know, all these teams that they're working
Yeah.
with, and then they just, you need it, you want it more so now. You don't need it
Yeah.
now, you want it more so now. So that's where this time thing comes in. Nobody wants to wait an additional few months, but it's just how it should be.
But to touch on timeline a little more, let's
Please.
say you decided to not do permits, and let's say halfway through the project you get caught without the permits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, you rushing to get this project started, your project essentially has to come to a halt
yeah,
while you get those permits, and then there's no work happening in your home,
Which is more costly.
which is more costly, and now your timeline is actually a lot longer.
And your budget, because
Yeah.
now you're going to get you'll get fines, you'll pay double permit fees, you'll have everything else, and then that urge to get going is even worse now, and someone's
Yeah.
forcing you to stop. It's nice to take a step back and understand and really get in. That's when you get into the design and material selection. So for us on a project, we do what's necessary to get the permit application in, and then we have a certain time when we can't do anything. When it's really a time when they can really work with the design team to focus on material selections and really look at that, because there's nothing else we could possibly be doing at this point, especially on the new build side, but also on the larger renovation side. That's when you really get into details that the city isn't overly concerned what color backsplash you have, if it matches your floor, if your countertops are going to flow together. They want to know what's going where, what you're moving and changing. But that gives you a chance to look at that. And it's all laying that out with your contractor and making the schedule. Okay, if we know that our permit process and our permit timeline is a certain period, what can we accomplish so the project is always moving forward? How can we do it so there's no time when we're just sitting doing nothing, so that the day that we get the permits in hand, we know you can order millwork and not have your building permit. You can do some things like that as long as you know that everything is okay that you're doing.
Yeah.
So that once we have permit, construction can start pretty soon. So there's certain things that you can do, and having that conversation with your contractor to understand the big picture of the project. That's our job. That's what we do with every client that we deal with.
awesome. Not to mention, maybe it's a bathroom renovation, and you're stuck showering at the neighbors until you can finish that project. That's not going to be fun.
No, it's a good make new friends, I guess, but
That's probably, unless it was the neighbors are the ones that told on you for not having permits.
well, but that can happen too.
It's
happens.
usually
Yeah.
the case. So.
Yeah.
So good segue on the materials side. How do I budget for a renovation?
So that's a really interesting question. There's two budgets out there. There's one that the clients will often tell the contractor, and then there's the real budget, which is somewhere else. The most important thing is to understand that we can do our work the best and the most effective when you let us know what the real budget is.
Is the real budget higher or lower?
Well,
Generally.
there's the real budget, which is the actual maximum amount,
Okay.
and then they want to tell the contractor something less, because some people have the misconception that we're going to take whatever the budget we're given is and try and just go a little bit above, and that's what it is. Whereas the reality is, as a team working with your designer and your contractor, we're trying to make sure that every step we take is towards the completed project on time and on budget. And it starts from having the conversation of, this is my budget, these are my goals, and we match up the wish list and the needs list and the budget so that everything that's being designed on the design side is something that fits your budget and it's something we can feasibly put into the project, and it's understanding what your options are and looking at, what do I really want, what are my goals, and you'd be surprised what we can do when we get that information. We can do a lot. We can show you past projects that may be really specific and almost exactly what you're doing. We can show you what they cost and what some of the decisions the clients had to make, or what maybe some of the limitations were and what that project actually cost. To put it into perspective, because some people, they'll go on, watch HGTV and see a $30,000 main floor renovation and be like, that's what I want. Well, that's not realistic.
Right.
And we want to show you what the materials that you're asking us for, where that puts you. And we'll be honest with the price point, because I don't want to budget a job and do a job that is going to be over budget. We want to work from the very beginning. Every design step is a step forward towards the finished project. If you don't tell the designer and the contractor the budget, there's a chance that we can design something that's not in line, whether the details aren't there, or it's too expensive, or not expensive enough. There you run the risk of that.
So are you saying be honest with your contractor about how much money you're spending?
Yeah, absolutely. Be honest. So we're here to help you, and
Yeah.
it's about once you've chosen one you're comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to build a good working relationship with you. That's my number one goal with every client, to build a good working relationship so that I understand what your goals are. Why am I here? How can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
We bring in the design team to create that team where we're all on the same page,
Yeah.
working towards that. And other than what we're doing, the budget is just as important to know where we can go and what we can do.
So if I'm a homeowner and I'm doing my whole house, let's say it's 4 bedrooms up, let's say I've got a basement, no suite, no, we'll just leave the suite out of it. And then main floors, living room, kitchen, maybe a powder room. Could you give me, and I know this is probably unfair to you, but
Yeah,
off the
totally.
cuff,
It is.
Yeah,
percentage on like kitchen? Like could we say this much of the budget should be for your kitchen, this much should be in your bathroom,
Yeah.
this much should be for
Well, let me
flooring.
ask the realtor, what rooms sell houses?
It's the kitchens and the bathrooms.
Kitchens and baths. So, and from the contractor point of view, the cheapest rooms are bedrooms and open rooms, because it's floors and paint. That's it. And those are really inexpensive in the grand scheme of things.
So am I saying 60% for kitchen and bathrooms or 70%?
I would say you're 70 to 80%.
70 to
80%, because there's not much more we can do in a bedroom. We can do feature walls or ceiling treatments or different things like that, but those max out at a certain level. But you also have to be careful too, because we don't want to go crazy extravagant in the bedroom and the rest of your house is not necessarily where it
That's
needs
true.
to be. And those are the common areas of the house too, where when you're entertaining,
Yeah.
you're going to be in the kitchen.
Yeah, I actually have something to add to that point.
Please.
Often enough we talk about budgets, and the client comes forward with a budget for their kitchen, but it's actually, because we're doing a lot of the open living spaces, it's not just the kitchen. It's a budget that should be allowed for towards that main living area. It's kitchen plus great room, let's call it. So when we talk about a number of like 60 or 70 or 80% should go towards the kitchen, we're calling it kitchen, but I actually think it's kitchen, great room, entry, because it's all open to one another. So that big budget or the big percentage is actually going to more than just the kitchen, the one
That's
room
true.
is what
Makes
I'm trying to
sense.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually going quite far.
So let's talk about then the bedrooms and how, if we're going to try to make them a little bit more flashy, I was just in a house yesterday that happened to be the only one my client liked out of the 4 or 5 we went and saw. And it had a lot of nice wallpapers in it, but I think a lot of people have stigma around wallpaper, and they have maybe some anxiety that, am I going to get tired of this wallpaper? Is this too much of a big commitment? What's your, do you have any, is this a decorator question or is this a designer question?
It ties into both.
Yeah.
It stays
Yeah,
behind. It stays with us.
What's the philosophy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely more a commitment to go with wallpaper. There's a lot more labor in applying the wallpaper itself, and then if you get tired of it, actually removing the wallpaper.
Yeah.
Paint is a little bit more friendly, because you can always just change the color of the paint.
Yeah.
As long as you're picking a wallpaper that's going to be more timeless, so nothing too trendy or nothing too crazy and out there. Maybe it's just playing on like a shape. It could be a muted color, but you introduce some geometric shapes in there. That's
Neutrals.
Neutrals. That's going to be more timeless.
Yeah.
And not something you're going to get as sick of, too soon. But definitely wallpaper is going to be a little bit harder. And then of course paint is very simple and less and more cost effective.
I also think that it ties into like the resale or what you're doing this for.
Yeah.
Are you doing it for yourself? Then take all the risks you want. My powder room is green. It's not for everybody. But if you're doing it for resale or just consideration that down the line, then play with the neutrals. And I think that we're also moving in a market that more so the consumer actually wants to see something fun. Like we're seeing it in developers. Developers are not taking the safe approach to design anymore.
Yeah.
So they're doing a lot more fun things in these suites, which is great. So the consumer seems to want something different and to be buying into something that's somewhat ready. So I say go with the wallpaper, but to Sylvie's point, just be a little bit more safe about it. Essentially,
safer on your selection, and then also where you're putting this wallpaper. You may not want to put it in every bedroom. Maybe you're going to put it in the one room. That could be an office space or possibly a nursery. So not putting it everywhere and just keeping those feature walls to a minimum
Okay.
is a safer way.
Show some restraint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's for yourself, go crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
Don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Then I gotta tell you, it's not worth more as much as you want.
Well, that ties into the budget
Yeah.
question from before too. Is one of the questions that I'll ask your client is, why are you doing the project?
Yeah.
Are you doing it because you want to move in a year? Is this your forever? And there's some really big considerations that go into both, because as Sylvie said, if it's your room and you are staying there, go crazy. You can, but understand maybe when you come to list the property, one of the things that's going to happen is maybe we change the wallpaper that's
They
there.
don't
Or
understand.
depends on how it goes. But we want to help the clients and advise them on what some of the best options are, and that's how we can also qualify a budget of saying, okay, if you're renovating maybe a condo unit in a building that there's been quite a few different units that have been done. Know what's been done in the different units. Same thing goes for in your neighborhood. Where do you sit in your neighborhood as far as what other people are doing? You want to make it so that you have a good saleable house, and you can also consult with a local agent that you trust, because you know the detail sheets in every neighborhood that if somebody said, here, this is my property.
Yeah.
These are the details. You know roughly if it's going to be a quicker sale or a higher dollar sale or where you're going to work. And that's for people to understand, also for the safety aspect. Everybody wants the sure thing of, I know I have a saleable asset. And those are ways that you can also kind of work on that, is understand working with your contractor, your designer, and even your real estate agent on, what should we put in? What's maybe a fun new trend that you're seeing at open houses? I love to ask you guys what people are seeing or what people are asking about, because you hear the good and the bad, that people sometimes they're too nice. They don't want to tell us that they didn't like what it was.
Right.
Or even sitting down with clients when you'll present something and they'll kind of go like, well, it's okay. Tell me you hate it. But honesty is honesty.
We're Canadians.
We're trying to build that relationship. Say you hate it.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you, what do you hate?
Right.
Yeah.
Is there something you like? That's totally fine. That's totally acceptable.
Yeah.
But it revolves around the honesty and understanding where to put your money and where to put everything in your project.
We don't hit it right off the park.
Not always.
Out of the park. What do they say? What's
Maybe
the
out of
saying?
the park.
Out of the
Another
park.
part.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Tell me this then before we wrap it up. How do I choose the right color for my home? Is there a strategy? Is there a philosophy? Is it always, because I can tell, and I will tell people neutral, do something white, do maybe a little bit of gray. There's a lot of gray these days.
The basic answer is that I think the simplest answer is neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, again, taking into consideration what we're doing with it. Are we selling down the line? Is it more personable to you? But there's also paint consultants, and they're inexpensive to hire. I'm a designer and I select paint. I do select paint, but I think for my personal house, I'm going to actually hire a consultant for like $250. I think it's something really reasonable, and they're going to do my whole house and just kind of introduce me, even as a designer, as to like this new idea of what you didn't think, based on the neutrals, based on accent walls or whatnot. They're just going to include a new perspective into something, and I think that's important
To
with
add,
everything we do.
so there's consultants for like every category out there, and paint is a
Welcome to
huge one.
Vancouver, where everybody does real estate.
Yeah.
In some fashion.
Everybody's
true.
an expert. But also to take into consideration that here in Vancouver, it is, you know, it is gray a lot of the time,
Yeah.
and it does rain, so we have a lot of gray days. So the number one again is neutrals, but making sure that the tones you're picking are not going to darken your space even further.
Mm.
Especially if you don't have a lot of natural light in your space, you're going to want to brighten it up.
Yeah.
But I love color. Like, I absolutely love color. I think paint over wallpaper, like you can repaint a wall.
Okay.
So introducing some color in some fun areas, whether it's in a powder room or in a laundry room, or just one feature wall.
Right.
I still love that idea. So don't be afraid of color, but keep in mind your space and how much light you have, and the fact that we do live in a darker.
Hold back on the grays.
Well,
yeah,
but-
not too gray.
Yeah, not too gray. Yeah.
Adding to that, it's also with the part of the renovation design is we have all this technology around us. All of the projects that we're doing now have renderings and different detail drawings. If you want to see your walls green, blue, pink, and red,
Yeah.
that's possible.
You can
And
see
those
it.
are all things that we can do that adds another layer, and it's worth it. So that's another reason to work with the team of contractor designer, because you don't have to put the paint on the wall and realize you like it or don't. You can have a much better idea of what it is from something like the design phase, where we're looking at your backsplash, your floor, your cabinets, and your walls. All of those things together. We want to create something that's a photo ready masterpiece on everyone, because that's our business card going forward too.
For sure.
We want projects that people are like, wow, who did that? This looks awesome. So we want to help you with that. So if it means doing some design renderings or showing you a couple different options, it's in your contractor and designer's best interest, because that's our business cards everywhere, and it's the relationships we're building with you and also with the space.
Absolutely. Well, this has been so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing
we're
all of
excited.
your wisdom from 15 years, from generations in the family business that you're in. And Sylvie, from your background working in kitchens and restaurants as well. So it's a wealth of knowledge we've got in this room right now. I'm going to link everybody's information on their on the businesses and the notes for the show. And I'll just say thanks for watching, and we'll see you
thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you.
I'm Realtor Josh Kepke, and that's it for today. Bye.
Vancouver Real Estate Today explores the art of living through genuine storytelling and localized expertise. If you enjoy what we do here, do us a favor and write us a review, and visit us at vancouverrealestatetoday.ca and discover the home that lets you express and live who you are.